I'm gonna attempt to do a rapid fire showcase of this mod. So the first feature I added was iridium. It doesn't really have a major use yet except for tools. And you have raw iridium blocks, iridium ore, iridium blocks, raw iridium, iridium ingots, and iridium nuggets and iridium tools. Then you have blast resistant concrete and blast resistant glass, as well as reinforced blast resistant concrete and reinforced blast resistant glass, which have very high blast resistant properties. Propulsion and repulsion gel from Portal 2. Propulsion makes you go fast, and then repulsion makes you bounce really high. And revulsion and exponential gel. Revulsion seem like it makes you go slow, but it actually can stop you if you're going any speed. And exponential gel combines the properties of propulsion and repulsion gel and makes it exponential. Doesn't look like much, but you can end up going very high with this. Next up is rye, that I added because it has ergot rye. You can plant the seeds, grow the rye. This is what it looks like when it's fully grown, and it'll occasionally give you ergot rye when you harvest it. And then you take this rye and you grind it up in a millstone to get coarse rye flour, which you can throw in here to get coarse rye dough, or you can grind it up a second time to get rye flour, which turns into normal rye dough, and then you cook the coarse rye dough into pumpernickel, or the rye dough into just rye bread. And I've yet to add a recipe for crisp bread, but I was thinking about adding another block that lets you flatten out the rye dough to make crisp bread. I forgot to mention this, but ergot is a poisonous fungus, and the reason I added ergot is because I wanted it so that when you grinded up ergot rye, you could turn it into poisonous bread that is not detectable as poison, but if you ate it, you got the effects of eating it. But I couldn't figure that out, so I'll try to figure that out at some point, but I still don't know. And then we have nitroglycerin and gelatinite. So nitroglycerin, there's no way to make it yet. There's actually not. This mod isn't completed. There's a lot of these things just don't have recipes. We have the large nitroglycerin bottle, the normal nitroglycerin bottle, and the container of nitroglycerin. Okay, the normal nitroglycerin bottle has an explosion that's pretty big. The large nitroglycerin bottle also has an explosion that's very big, and then the containers of nitroglycerin also have a very big explosion, and they all explode at the same time. We have the barrel of gelatinite, block of gelatinite, and just gelatinite. Gelatinite is a compound which is partially formed using nitroglycerin. The blasting cap, remote receiver, and remote detonator. The remote receiver, when linked to a remote detonator, will receive a redstone signal and turn on and off. If you get a gelatinite barrel, place a blasting cap in it, place a remote receiver and a remote detonator, you can load up. Next up, we have most of the weapons in the mod. So you have the frag grenade, Chuck It frag grenade edition, which Chuck It is a dog toy that lets you throw balls. So the frag grenade is, well, a frag grenade. It has shrapnel and a small explosion. The Chuck It version just goes way further, and it's creative mode only item, which these don't have recipes yet, but that's it's not going to be craftable. The concussive grenade, its main killing force is overpressure rather than shrapnel. The sting ball grenade, which is basically a riot grenade that shoots at rubber balls and releases tear gas. The stun grenade, which is a flashbang, which makes a bright flash and it can destroy glass. It doesn't have any harmful properties. It's mostly just stunning. It stuns the player or any other mobs. See, it just breaks glass. Oh, and I forgot to mention shrapnel can break leaves and plants as well. The havoc grenade, it basically just deletes anything other than bedrock, so it's not a traditional explosion. And it pulls things in. The shot grenade, which is basically just a smaller version of the concussive grenade. The impact grenade, which it has a delay fuse where it'll explode on impact. Or if you throw it high enough, it has a secondary fuse that makes it explode before it hits the ground. And it has a slightly smaller explosion than the frag grenade. The throwable bomb, Molotov cocktail, lunge mine, flamethrower, and flamethrower fuel tank. So the throwable bomb is a bomb you can throw. Basically just a frag grenade with less shrapnel but a bigger explosion. The Molotov cocktail is yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. The flame particles spread the flames, which they're not working right now, and it seems, and I don't really know why. The lunge mine, which is that's what it is. So the lunge mine was a weapon used by the Japanese during World War II, and it's basically just a handheld landmine that they would run up to try to attack tanks, and it would blow themselves up. It's not really an effective weapon, it's just like a bomb on a stick. Flamethrower, which, once again, those are the same field particles. I don't know why they're not setting things on. Oh, wait, is it because I have do fire tick as false? Yeah, that's why. So, this lets you, and you have to be in survival to consume any flamethrower fuel tanks you have in your inventory. Then we have the utilities, which we have the trampoline block, which is based off the spring block from my previous mod. The tone block, which doesn't do much other than that. The Uber sponge, which just is a way stronger sponge, can suck up way more water than a normal sponge. And it's in a spherical pattern rather than using breath for a search. The accelerator, which is basically, it accelerates the player at, 10 blocks per tick, not 10 blocks per second. And the cheese and cheeseburger, which you craft the cheeseburger using cheese, they're both food items. Some other explosives, we have arrow TNT, TATB, blast mine, hidden blast mine, BFS mine, bounding mine, dynamite, and wire cutters. Explodes with a sphere of arrows. Wow, amazing. The TATB is basically just a more powerful version of TNT. Blast mine is an explosive landmine. The hidden blast mine is a hidden variant. The BFS mine is an explosive that uses breath. The bounding mine jumps up and explodes with shrapnel. The dynamite is throwable and explodes on impact, though I will change that to have it be fused. The wire cutters allow you to disable any landmine. So if I go back over here, and now it doesn't explode. The nuclear charge, nuclear bomb, depth charge, and nuclear depth bomb. So these are very big, and the nukes require redstone to be set off. Hey, there's a nice village for us to do this, actually. So we have, okay, so first off, we have the depth charge, which is much smaller. You just right-click it. And I do plan on making it so it explodes once it reaches a certain depth in water, rather than just having a fuse, or having a fuse variant. Like, there's a lot of ideas I have for this mod. And then the smallest of the 3 nukes, the nuclear depth bomb, which this will take a while to explode. Smallest nuke I have. Then the nuclear charge, which can be disabled using the wire cutter, so can the nuclear bomb. And once you do that, they're completely disabled forever. Oh, sorry. With the nukes, you have to arm them first. This one has a pretty long fuse, but it's not that long. And then give it a moment. See, much bigger explosion there. And finally, the nuclear bomb, which has the biggest explosion of the 3. Very big explosion. Then we have the debug items. So the first one, well, they're not, they're not debug items. They're the experiments and unused assets. So we have the Uber Bow, which is, let's just say overpowered. Shoots Uber arrows that explode, and yeah, it's a creative mode only item for obvious reasons. Still going. There we go. Oh, no, there's some more. Just give it a moment. Okay, I think that's the last arrow. Alright. The next up is the TNT spammer, which shoots more and more TNT every time you shoot it. Now we're starting to install a lot of TNT. So just one more every single time. Throwable depth charge, which throws a depth charge. The nuclear depth charge, which throws a nuclear depth charge. The throwable bounding mine, which throws the bounding mine. The DEST, which doesn't actually stand for anything. It's based off a element from the powder toy called Destructive Bomb. Let's just throw one. And now let's spam it a bit. So yeah, it's quite destructive. Then we have Fireball, which just throws a gas fireball, basically. Nothing too crazy, except it's actually a way bigger explosion. The Creeper item, which it's supposed to be throwable Creeper, but, you know, whatever. The Creepers kind of die for some reason and have really weird physics, so I don't know. The armed version of all the throwable explosives that just aren't really used, which is where that experiments comes from. The feature test item, which I can change the use of to like test certain code. Oh god, the DEST is kind of going ham. Apparently, some of them survived, I guess. The shrapnel and rubber ball, which are just the item versions for those things. The multiplicative accelerator. The multiplicative accelerator times 10 and the exponential accelerator. So this one, rather than having a set acceleration, multiplies it by 2. This one multiplies it by 10, and this one multiplies it to the power of 2, I think. Then we have the fire item, which was added after I was able to create an inferifier item. And if you're wondering what inferifier is, well, I have it set to despawn. When you set it to not despawn, it spreads very rapidly and is very out of control. And when it interacts with a fluid, it creates inferamagma, which just will over time summon, or very rarely, it can make an infera geyser. I mean, also, it can create magma without interacting with the fluid, which, shoots out inferifier particles that spread everywhere. So basically, you can see how fast it's starting to consume the world. This is going to be a creative, and I shouldn't have to mention this, I guess, because of the items at hand, but these are all creative mode only things. There's nothing really, these aren't usable. Let me just get rid of this. There we go. There's a reason I added the game rule, but see how much damage it did that quickly. And that's basically everything in the mod. I don't think there's anything else.